and welcome to Freshwaves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Today we're going to be speaking with Jason Rumball. Now, Jason has been involved in Freshwaves since the dawn of time, and he was the one who first introduced me to the whole concept of organ donation awareness, and that's because Jason himself is an organ recipient. His sister donated one of her kidneys to Jason years ago, and we'll get that whole story. But this is Organ Donation Awareness Month, the month of April, and we are honoring that by doing all of these shows to bring you the stories, the adventures, the successes, and sometimes the struggle of people who are needing organ donation. As we have stated many times in the past, go to beadonor.ca. Don't think that just because you filled out your license and the card years and years and years and years ago that you are still on the list. That may not be the case. You need to go to beadonor.ca and make sure that you register to be a donor. Honestly, it takes less than 3 minutes and you're good to go. Also, do let your family members know your wishes so that they don't have to guess in a stressful time. They can they know. Everyone knows what you would like to do. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you all Jason Rumball. Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing good, Brent. How you doing? And happy Organ Donor Awareness Month.
And to you. So tell us a little bit about your story.
So going back to when I was born with a number of different health issues. I won't get into that today. It's a lot to explain. I've been through a lot, since childhood, and slowly over time, without me knowing, fast forward to, I was going to, college at the time in the late 90s. And, I was feeling sick, I'd still, managed to, get to school somehow. But, I wasn't feeling well. And so I went to my family doctor, and he thought, he was aware, in my files that I've had a history of, having born with one kidney and different issues with my bladder and stuff like that. And so it was all in my file, but he looked at me and he thought, oh yeah, you just got the flu. Don't worry about it. Just, take some Tylenol, whatever, go home and you'll be feeling okay. And then, I go for a routine eye exam, and he noticed that there was, some vision issue with my right eye, that I couldn't see the letters and that clearly during the testing. And so he looked into my eye a little bit further, and he said, you got some bleeding in your eye. You got to go to the hospital right now. And so I go to the hospital, and, they don't check my blood pressure, none of my vitals. They just focus on the eye, and they say, yeah, there's definitely something going on with the eye. We'll get you in to see the ophthalmologist, which is an eye specialist, on Monday. So, going through, the weekend with this blurry eye and not knowing what was going on. And so I go to the eye specialist, and he does a bunch of tests, and he said, yeah, there's definitely something not right with your eye. And so he asked me, have you had your blood pressure checked recently? And I said, no. So he checked my blood pressure, and the reading was very high, 220 over 130, probably the highest you could get. That could cause, a stroke or a heart attack. So he said, you got to go to the hospital right away. And, thankfully I was just right across the street from Northbrook General. So I go over there, and they, they're thinking, the first thing they're thinking is, yeah, it's could be a heart issue or a stroke. So they call the cardiologist, the heart specialist, to come in and look at things. But they do a whole bunch of tests, like blood and, CT scans and, every test you can think of. And so the blood tests come back, and it showed, that my creatinine level, which measures your overall kidney function, was 705, and the normal range for males is about 50 to 120. So it's way above what it should be. So they thought, oh, we got to get the kidney specialist to come in, and it's apparently it was a kidney specialist that I've seen before. So he called in to take over things and do what they can to, because my blood levels were all out of whack. My potassium, which is when it gets very high, it's very serious. It can cause a heart attack or heart palpitation. So they had to get that under control. I had to drink this nasty medicine to get that down, and they did what they could to try to reverse some of this damage, but it got a little bit better, my kidney function, but it still wasn't good enough. So they said, we're going to have to refer you to the kidney dialysis program at what was called at the time York Central and Richmond Hill. So I went there to see my doctor, Dr. Nathu, who I was reunited with them on my second time on dialysis, but I'll get to that a little bit later. So, it was quite the shock. Like I remember my mom crying, learning the fact that, my kidney has failed, that I'll need dialysis, I'll need this machine to stay alive. So they, what they had to do first was a fistula in my arm, because the machine to be able to accommodate the needles going into my arm, they had to make the vein much bigger than it was. So that's what happens when you surgically connect the artery in your arm to a vein. It makes the vein in your arm, bigger. So when the nurses put the needles in, they're ready for that. So so that was shortly after I got out of the hospital. I went to have that procedure done, and so, but they had to wait, for a few months for this fistula to develop so they can begin dialysis. So, I just did what I could. They would try to, modify my diet, anything I could do to kind of, hold off until I would need dialysis, because, the other option was if I needed dialysis right away, they would put a catheter in my neck to get instant access to the machine. But fistula, would take some time to develop. So the doctor thought they had a few months before I would need dialysis. So, I would go to the hospital 3 times a week. I was going to college at the time, so I would go in the evenings. So, a lot of times I'd bring my, college homework with me to dialysis and do that there, and somehow manage, doing that a few days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and did that for about a year and 9 months. And I remember my very first treatment, I was just so nervous. My blood pressure was so high, but, as I was going there, I was, getting to know the nurses and the patients and, realizing that I'm not alone in this. We got a nice dialysis family there that, I got to know, and eventually they taught me how to put the needles in my arm, which was, pretty cool to have that, experience there. So I was able to do that. So, so it'd be, going to college during the day and then dialysis at night. And then, my sister, she, didn't like to see her brother, go through another health issue. Like, I've been in the hospital all my life. And so, she learned that, I can do something about this. Maybe I could, donate a kidney. So, she went down to St. Mike's where the kidney transplant would eventually happen, talk to the St. Mike's staff about the pros and cons of donation. And, so of course at the time she had a, small child. So she's kind of wondering, how this would work now that she's a young mother and stuff like that. So, but the pros outweighed the cons, which was, a good thing. And then on my 23rd birthday, she surprised me with the news that she was going to donate. I was totally shocked. It was, quite the amazing birthday that she was, going to do this. And so the transplant happened shortly after that. I remember, that Christmas of 1999 being so emotional, knowing that this transplant was upcoming and that my dialysis, would hopefully be coming to an end. And so we went down to St. Mike's in January, and then January 18th, 2000, she donated her kidney to me, and it worked right away. It actually was working better than my sister's kidney. But like she was doing okay. Like she had some side effects from some of the medication, but because she hasn't been through tests and surgeries like I have. So being in the hospital was I think it was more harder on her than it was on me. So and then for 19 and a half years, the kidney was able to work, and I was able to during dialysis I was able to finish off college, and after the transplant, I went on to, get some jobs and be able to, travel and do some volunteer work, and then eventually move into Stouffville here in 2012 and volunteering for this radio station. Her gift of a kidney, gave me the chance to live and do all these things.
Yeah, it gave you a life.
It sure did. It sure did.
And it's interesting that you said that, you woke up and you felt great, and the donor often wakes up and thinks, oh, man, I've had major surgery.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I felt like I can run a marathon. That's how, I'm going through, very sick, needing a machine to stay alive, to, feeling, 100 times better.
Oh, that's amazing. And what a beautiful gift that was that your sister gave you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because she didn't like the fact that, I was, sick on a machine, and I was still, pretty young. I still had many more years to go ahead and, live my life. And she said, no, I'm going to do something. I mean, sure, there's always, pros and cons to everything, but the pros for her seem to outweigh the cons. So, we've always been, close, since that donation. My mom has passed away, and my dad died very young, so she's always been, very close, with me. So it's a gift that I'll never forget. And she said, and now that I'm back on dialysis, she felt bad that she couldn't do anything this time. Like she said, if I had another kidney, I would, donate it to you. So I'm, back on dialysis again as of 2019, 6.5 years now. So having to, do this all over again.
Yeah, it's a shame. But
it is. Yeah.
One of the things we should make clear to the listeners is there are some people who end up with their kidney for years. Like Jen Rose, we know, is she's 30 years with her kidney. And sometimes it's better to have a living donor.
It is.
They tend to last longer, the kidneys. And as we heard last week in the program, and if anyone wants to hear that show, you just go to our YouTube channel and you can hear the previous shows. One of the things that we were talking about is the fact that people think often that they're too old to donate any of their organs. And we heard the story of a woman who was in her 50s and was given a kidney of someone who was 80, and they've had that kidney now for 25 years. So,
wow.
So in fact, the kidney is over 100 years old and still working really well. She's doing extremely well with her kidney. So, you never know. And, Jason, I just can't wish you, anything more than just the fact that I hope that someday you end up with a donated kidney. I really do. I mean, second time around, obviously your sister needs the one she has. She's already given you one. That's not an option.
No.
And I'm sure other family members have come through for testing. And it's often not a family member who ends up being the perfect match anyway.
No, exactly. It could be anybody. I mean, my doctor was telling me about this one man who, happened to, get chatting with somebody in the parking lot, and they ended up being, their donor, because you just, you never know. I mean, you could tell your hairdresser or whoever you're talking to that, your story. It's, something I've been very open about on Facebook. We didn't have Facebook and that the first time around, but, being, the second time, going through this and sharing my health journey on Facebook and stuff like that. And, I think that does help to, let people know that, like it may not be your, direct Facebook connection. It could be somebody that they share your story with. So you just never know. So it's important to, be comfortable in sharing your story.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. And it's also, you have to be comfortable in promoting yourself, so to speak. I remember, Jason, you know this woman too. She's from Stouffville, and her husband was just not going to sit by and let her pass away. She needed a kidney, and he stood in front of Union Station, where there's thousands of people who come in and out of Toronto every day in front of Union Station, and he had a sandwich board on. Said, my wife needs a kidney. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's a lovely human being, and we're looking for a kidney. And if you'd be interested in donating a kidney to my wife, please do. And here's the number to call.
Wow. Well, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It is.
Actually, now that we're talking, I got this shirt that was made for me to say that I'm, looking for a kidney and, how to get a hold of me on Facebook and stuff like that. And so I wear it to dialysis to kind of give ideas to the other patients. There's another lady that saw my shirt and she's like, oh, where did you get that? And so I think she might be interested. She might contact that same lady and, get a shirt made. So
any way that you can to get the word out there that you are looking for a kidney, but thousands of other Canadians are looking for kidneys as well.
Exactly. Yeah. No, there's, a lot of people that are, waiting and, we need people to, go to beadonor.ca, but nobody wants to think of, dying and stuff like that. Like, we just had the, Logan Boulay effect, Green Shirt Day, talking about his story, about what he did after the, terrible tragedy in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. But, I keep telling people that, sure, go to beadonor.ca, but you can also, be a living donor as well, and some of the benefits of that. And it helps to, for people that have donated to, share their story as well. Like we've had, Meg Thomas on the show, and she's a two-time living donor. So, it's amazing. Yes. You could be a kidney donor and a living donor.
Yeah, so and to hear Megan's story again, you go to our YouTube channel, Freshwaves Radio, and look for the organ donation awareness shows, and Meg's is on there. She donated a kidney to a dear family friend, and she donated part of her liver to a baby at Sick Kids. And, terrific stories and so inspiring. Oh my goodness. Just, it warms your heart to hear these stories. And, we did run a story, last year, towards the end of last year, about a dear friend of ours, Steve Mitchell, who passed away. Now, he had his heart for a number of years, and he had a heart transplant. And, this is the reality that organ donation saves a life. It enhances the lives of 86 other people through tissue and other donations. But organ donation is not a cure. It's not a cure for kidney disease. It's not a cure for heart disease. But it does allow people to live sometimes only a few years more. But boy, what you can do in a few years, But at least it gives them time. It
does, any time is precious for sure. And, there's, the good news is, I wouldn't have to go to dialysis a few days a week. I could, live life more, spontaneous. I can have time if I want to volunteer or, look for a job and stuff like that. But there's, medications that you'd have to take that, come with their own, side effects as well. So, there's, things to manage, but you're free from the machine.
You're free from the machine. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And at the moment, if you wanted to travel somewhere, it's nearly impossible, isn't it?
It is, exactly. It requires more planning. It is possible, but it requires more planning with, first time I was on dialysis, I went down to visit my cousin in Florida, and there was some planning to, what kind of, dialysis prescription am I, getting at York Central Hospital. And,
right.
One thing that I didn't realize is that I didn't see a doctor, but there was a doctor that was monitoring my, dialysis visits, and they still would, charge you for that. So it's just understanding, the cost and, what, the Ontario government can do. And so, if you're on dialysis, speak to your social worker. They can try to, help you, coordinate with dialysis at the other end. But it takes more planning but as without dialysis, you can, go there and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. So once you have your transplant, you'll be good to go. Now, are you back on the transplant list, Jay?
No. There's a couple of, blood levels that, have dropped. So they've been trying to investigate those things. And, I, had one medication that was just recently increased. So I'm kind of wondering if, that has any effect on one of my blood levels.
Isn't it kind of ironic that you are sick and you need dialysis because you have kidney disease of one shape or form, and you need dialysis, and you need a new kidney, but you have to be well enough to get onto the list to get the kidney? It seems like a vicious circle.
It does. And I'm feeling good. I mean, I look good, and, sure, maybe my energy is not as, good as it, like some days are like, on a dialysis day, I'm more tired than, say, tomorrow, have a good sleep tonight, hopefully, and feel better tomorrow. So, but other than that, I can't think of anything where, it's pretty obvious that I'm not well. So, it's just the kidney disease. But, the blood levels, like because you're going through a major surgery, I guess they want to make sure that you're stable enough that there's not going to be any, complications afterwards. And, I would feel bad that, if I were to get a kidney from somebody and then something happens to me right after that, I'd think that maybe that kidney's going to waste. I'd rather that kidney go to somebody that is healthy. So, but if they think I'm not quite ready yet, then, just to do whatever I can now to get me ready. So.
Right. Well, that's a very responsible attitude to have, and one that comes from being on and around the kidney world for quite some time. We're going to take a break here on Freshwaves. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Jason Rumball. Again, if you'd like to hear any of the other organ donation awareness shows and hear any of the stories, please go to our YouTube channel. You'll find some really fascinating stories there. It's been a wild journey over the last 10 years doing these shows. And, our hearts go out to Steve Mitchell and his family. As we previously stated, he passed away last year, and you can hear his story on our YouTube channel as well. You're listening to Fresh Waves. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Bren Masson, host of Fresh Waves. April is Organ Donation Awareness Month in Canada, so we are bringing awareness to the airwaves with real-life stories of real organ donors, families who have made the difficult decision in moments of extreme tragedy to donate a loved one's organs, and organ recipients themselves. Join us on Fresh Waves. And go to beadonor.ca and register to be a donor today.
Today I'm gonna try to change the world.
Hi, we're back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Jason, if someone would like more information about being a living donor, where do they go for information about being a living donor?
Well, you can, reach out to me personally about my case. Go to a kidney for Jason Rumball. That's JASONRUMBALL. That's my Facebook page. Or you could find me on social media HAPPYJAY Canada, Happy J Canada. But you can also contact the Transplant Ambassador Program. They have some great resources on living donation, and they have an actual matching service on there that they're trying out. They asked me to try it out to match donors with recipients. So if you want to Google Transplant Ambassador Program, it's called TAP. They have some great information on there. But if you want to talk to me personally about my case as well, you can just reach out to me as well.
Okay, that sounds great. And of course, if you want to just make sure that you are a registered donor, you go to beadonor.ca and register to be an organ donor. And there's in my books, there's just no better gift. When you're no longer using the body that you currently occupy, let someone else use it so that they can share in the beauty of being alive. And it's just the most wonderful gift.
It sure is. It sure is. And it only takes a couple minutes. You don't have to go into Service Ontario. You can just log on in your pajamas, sipping your coffee there. You just take out your health card and put in your health card information, and then you're all set. Within 2 minutes, you're all good.
Good, amazing, so simple. Beadonor.ca. All right, now Jason, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. I mean, you're tootling along for all these years with a fantastic kidney. You have friends in your friend group and your community who have had their kidneys for 30 years, so you must be really encouraged. All of a sudden, you get sick and your kidney tanks. How did that make you feel?
I felt sad. Like I thought my sister's gift was going to last forever. Like I was, doing everything I could to, keep the kidney going. And like originally the doctors predicted, that 10 years would be, the maximum I'd get out of this kidney. So I did everything I could to, push it to 19 years. So, for that to have the kidney longer than, what the doctors predicted was good. But it was sad to, finally, like I remember, I was in the hospital, like when I had to be, put on dialysis, and a whole bunch of things were going on with my health. And I remember just breaking down, with my sister there, and just, sad that, her gift was no longer working, that I would need dialysis again. So, that was a hard realization, but, I've been able to, relearn dialysis over again. Like it seemed like yesterday to go back on dialysis and do all the same things that I've done before. So it, came back to me pretty quickly, but it was sad to know that I would need the dialysis machine again, and that my kidney wasn't gonna, last for the rest of my, for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah, that must have been quite the blow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, you were on dialysis for, how long have you been on dialysis now?
Since 2019. So, about 6.5 years. So much longer than the first time around.
Right. So I understand that you got the call that they did have a kidney for you. Tell us that story.
So I've recently, last couple of years, have been practicing to be a DJ. Some friends of mine got me a DJ mixer and stuff like that. So I was, working on another DJ mix at home, and so I got this call, and I wasn't too sure if it was one of those automatic appointment reminder calls. And so I thought, maybe I should pick this up. Maybe it might be, them calling about a kidney. And sure enough, it was the doctor. And the doctor said, can you come in right away? We might have a kidney for you. So, I shut down all my, my computer and everything. And I rushed to, get myself to the hospital as soon as I can. And, I called my sister to say, it looks like they might have a kidney for me. So she was coming down from the cottage, and she came down to be with me there. And, everything, they did a whole bunch of tests, to make sure that everything was still good. And, chest x-ray was good, blood tests, and But they did a CT scan, and the results for that hadn't, come back. But, they're pretty sure that everything was, going to be fine. And then, like I stayed overnight there. I had dialysis there and, stayed overnight. And so they thought, everything was going to be good for to do the surgery the next day. So I was just about to get rolled down the surgery, like they're just about to, prepare the IV and stuff like that. And the doctor came around and he said, the CT scan results came back and there's, an issue, in your stomach that because of that, they weren't able to see, I think it was the veins, I understand, to transplant the kidney. So they said, we're sorry, but, we're not able to go ahead with the transplant right now. So you got to go home and, deal with this issue. And I remember my sister, she was just so upset because she thought, everything was all good to go. But, to actually, get the call is pretty exciting, but to, get this news is, it's pretty frustrating to know that, I had to deal with this issue. And then I ended up, in the hospital for a few weeks after that, like a few months after that. So, dealing with this blockage in my stomach. So I had to deal with that, and everything is all fine with that. And, everything's all, resolved with that, but there's some of my blood levels are a little bit low. So now it's addressing those to get me back on the list. So, I'm pretty much on the list, but they don't call me. They what they call is an activation. So meaning that you're ready to receive calls. So once the kidney doctor, is happy with everything, they'll put me, they'll make me active again. So I would start receiving calls. And from what I understand, the good news is once I do get back on the list, I would be at the top of the list. So,
well, that's good.
That's the good news, about that. But it's just a matter of getting me stable enough to the point I'm ready to go through a major surgery. So,
yeah,
dealing with those.
I remember when you texted me and you said they've got a kidney and I'm on my way down to the hospital now, and we were just doing the happy dance. And then 24 hours later, everything was called off. And I can't even imagine what you felt like, because we were devastated. And this is not all about me by any means, but man, oh man, how disheartening. And they always call two people, right? There's always the person that's the better match, but then the backup in case something goes wrong. And they had told you that time that you were the first choice for that kidney, meaning it was a good match for you. Exactly.
No, it was a perfect match, but, my nurse practitioner at dialysis, she felt bad that to see me back on dialysis, but she said she knew of a patient where they were called for transplant and they go through all these last minute tests, and then they found out that she could not have a kidney transplant at all. She had some other serious illness, so they had to take her off the list. And so they even though they do these last minute tests to make sure nothing's changed with your health. Sometimes for some people, unfortunately, they find something that's very serious, and so they say, no, you can't go through with the kidney transplant at all. So for me to have another, chance at it once I get, stable again, I think that's, good news. But as frustrating as it is, I just want to make sure, that I'm still 100% that nothing's changed, because things can change very quickly, and they just want to make sure that there's no outstanding issues before proceeding with a major, operation like that. So.
Absolutely. They want to make sure that you're in your best health that you can be, because you have to be healthy enough to be able to handle the transplant. It's not easy surgery on either end of the stick.
No, it's not. No. And, there's some, recovery involved. And, I've, for all the surgeries I've done, I've, handled them pretty well. But I just want to, I really want to get that kidney, but I understand that, you have to, have, certain blood levels at, a normal range and that sort of thing. So, I'm just doing what I can in the meantime to, stay healthy. And, like my taxi driver that brought me home today was saying, you seem to be, taking care of yourself. And so, people notice these things that come trying to, eat a healthy diet at home and, get a little bit of exercise. And you just got to do what you can to, maintain health, besides having to, go through kidney disease and dialysis.
Yeah, I remember Jen saying to us, Jen Rose, who is also a kidney recipient, that she treats her kidney like it's a precious, precious, precious stone. And she makes sure her diet is impeccable. She does all the things that she's supposed to do, and she does not waver because she does not want to tax that kidney. She wants to treat it like the queen that it is, and it keeps her alive. So, I think you've got to do the same thing. You've got to treat your own body like it is going to be the house of the new kidney and has to be in perfect working order before that new kidney can come on board. Exactly.
So, yeah, because as I was saying, I feel, pretty good. And, so it's just a matter of, when you're not feeling well, to speak up and let your team know that you're not feeling well, and to, if there's issues with your, maybe your potassium is going up high, 1 month, because they do a monthly blood work. So, talking to the dietitian, maybe asking them questions on, what foods should I have? And so doing, whatever you can to, be as healthy as you can. Cause once the transplant happens, you're going to, be taking a lot of medication, but I like the way Jen put that precious stone. Cause, and I was thinking that, this is my sister's kidney, and she'd be, pretty mad if I didn't take good care of it. So I wanted to, take good care of her gift, and, listen to my doctor, and, go for my monthly blood work. And it's, when you first get a kidney transplant, it's pretty, crazy at first. You go through a lot of blood tests and doctor's visits, because the first year is, the most critical. They want to make sure everything's, working just fine. And then once they're, happy with things, and they reduce some of your medication and less, visits to the hospital and things like that. So, so there's all these things to manage for sure.
Yeah, and I think you above everybody know what the responsibility is to the kidney that you will receive when you receive it. Because I do believe that you will get your kidney. It'll just be a matter of time, and I hope that you keep yourself healthy enough and that your body can withstand the surgery. And as always, Jay, we just wish you all the best. And I can't thank you enough for bringing the organ donation awareness shows to the station and to the wavelengths. As I said, I have had the absolute pleasure of interviewing such positive and happy people who have received organs. And I just hope that the rest of the listening world can appreciate what a gift it is to be an organ donor. Like they say, heaven doesn't need your organs. We need them down here on earth. So, please go to beadonor.ca and sign up to be an organ donor.
That's right. And seriously, think about organ being a living donor as well. There might be somebody that, like say if you're not a match for me, I'm a positive blood type, but maybe you might not be a match for me, but you could be a match for somebody else that's looking for a kidney. So you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. And we have heard stories, you and I, of the people, what do they call it? It's kind of like an octopus kind of a thing, where if you don't match Jason, but you match someone else, and that someone else has a friend who has a match that's not for them, but is a match for Jason. I think they've done as many as 4 transplants at one time going on in this octopus kind of a thing, where this kidney's going to that person, this kidney's going to that one, and they shuffle them all around till everybody who is a match for someone else gets a kidney.
Yeah, no, that's something that they do, quite a bit. And I believe Mary Jo, that who we've had on the show before, I believe that's what she's going to be doing with her situation.
Now, she has a very rare blood type, so her situation's a little more tricky than yours. Well, you have to be back on the list, but she's on the list, but has a very rare blood type. And hopefully we'll get Mary Jo back on the show. She, if anyone's interested in her story, we've done 2 different shows with her in the past, telling her story and updates about her situation. So again, that's on Freshwaves Radio. And we do have a playlist there, don't we, Jay? Because Jay's my technical producer, and you do all of the stuff on our YouTube channel.
That's right, yeah. So if you go to Freshwaves Radio, hit subscribe, and you'll see under lists, there's one for Airbnb shows that we've done, but there's also one for organ donation. So we have just about all the organ donation shows there you can listen to.
Well, that's good, because like I said, the stories are so fantastic that it really is worth a listen. There's some great stories, and coming up over the next few weeks, we'll be presenting more organ donation awareness shows here on Fresh Waves, and more stories from the people who have both given organs, living donors, and of organ recipients. And I think these stories are really inspiring. And I mean, it sounds so weird. I hate to say it, that they're inspiring, but they are inspiring. It's amazing to see what people do once they have a new lease on life. How they take full advantage of it. Sandra Holdsworth, with the way that she has volunteered and worked in the sector for so many years now, and now she's back on the list. And
that's right, yeah.
Hopefully she will also find a donor, but she needs a liver and a kidney. So in her situation, she's looking for something a little more complex than you are. And we wish her all the best. And we will have her on the show, I'm sure, in the next few weeks to give us an update on things and how they're going up there in Muskoka, where she lives. And, some of these stories, like Melody Klassen, oh my goodness, she's had 2 transplants.
Well,
and,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, she's what a story. Anyway, like I said, very inspirational stories, and it just makes you not take life for granted, but to appreciate every minute that you're here and every minute that you have.
Oh, definitely. I mean, because I never heard of these organ donation awareness groups, and to meet Jenny, meet Sandra, meet all these wonderful people, and to hear their stories, and to go out to malls and different events in the community, and just share my story, and to hear people say, yeah, I've already done the organ donation thing. I already went to beadonor.ca. So that's great to hear that. But then there's others that have no idea about organ donation. They don't know about beadonor.ca. So to share your story and hear that they're going to go home and donate, it's pretty amazing. So I'm so glad that I'm so glad I did those things, and speaking at a local school in Stouffville, sharing my story with the kids, and just to see their faces light up when I share my story, and that was a great experience as well.
Yeah, and you've also spoken at hospitals and youth groups. I mean, you've really done a lot of community outreach. Now, I think one of the things that I admire about the community outreach programs is the fact that to talk about organ donation here on the radio, or to, you see the little TV clips every now and again. Yeah. People talk about all the different things that you can do in your life and charities and all the rest of it. But this is so amazing to see the people, actually see the people and talk to the people who have benefited from this organ donation. I mean, who are standing in front of you, living, breathing, talking to you, walking on walks and admiring and being grandparents and parents and caregivers, and they're organ recipients. My goodness, this is amazing to see. It brings it from a piece of paper or something that you clicked a box online to sign up for, to realizing exactly what you can do for someone. And there's the person in front of you. And I know that as a recipient, you're allowed to send a letter to your donors' families, because many times the donors are not living donors. And sometimes you hear back, sometimes you don't, because in order for one person to live, sometimes somebody else has to pass away. And that's a very sad thing. And not to take anything away from that, but when you see that the person who has passed has left such an amazing gift, that a man like my friend Skeeter gets to not only attend his daughter's wedding, but to hold his granddaughter. I mean, that's just an amazing gift. What a beautiful thing to give that man. It is amazing. Man.
Wow.
And Skeeter only had 5 years with his donor heart. And he passed away after 5 years, but boy, were those ever 5 full years. And it was such a blessing for him to have those years, and for his family to have him there for those monumental occasions, you know?
Oh, definitely. It is a blessing, you know. And yeah, for me, like, I wish I would have had, you know, more than 19 years with my sister's kidney, but to have those 19 years and all the things that I was able to do. And so, you know, I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely. And I'm sure she is too.
Exactly. Yeah. And, yeah, like, I know being back on dialysis, my sister, you know, she worries about me. I've, you know, within the last 3 years, I've, you know, moved, into my own, you know, place here. So I, you know, after my mom passed away, I was living with my sister and family in Stouffville, but now I'm living in downtown Toronto, living on my own. And sure, she still, you know, worries about me, but, you know, I think she's, you know, happy to know that, you know, I'm doing so well after, you know, so many years on dialysis again. And, yeah, and then, you know, hopefully soon things work out with my blood levels, and then I can get back on the transplant list again.
Yeah, well, like I said a million times already, we wish you all the best with that, and I hope that things go forward for you in a very, very positive way.
Oh, thank you so much, Brent. I appreciate that. I'm hanging in there. Happy Jay's hanging in there.
Happy Jay all the way. And you're still volunteering at the radio station?
That's right. Yeah, I'm still, you know, I'm the producer of Freshwaves here, and I also do my own dance music radio show. So if you love some good house music and stuff like that, you can tune into my show right here on Whistle FM Saturday nights at 11 o'clock.
Now, how did you get involved in that DJing stuff?
Well, yeah, so I've been doing my show at Whistle Radio since 2012. So, you know, just, you know, doing my show there. And then eventually I started to meet, you know, some of the DJs that a lot of them have never been on the radio or, you know, done that sort of thing. So I, you know, got to know them, and I said, oh, maybe I can have you on my radio show. But then I got really interested in, you know, just watching the DJs. Like, I would go to these, you know, parties in downtown Toronto and go right up to the DJ booth and just, you know, watch the DJs to see what they were doing. And so my one friend, you know, said, you know, have you ever thought about, you know, maybe having your own, you know, DJ mixer and stuff like that to DJ. So, my friend, very nice friend, and he's been a DJ for a while. He had an extra DJ mixer for me, so he, you know, brought it downtown for me to try. And then another friend had a speaker I could use, and so they had, you know, everything I needed to DJ. So I've just been practicing at home, and you know, coming up the end of this month on the 25th, I'll have another DJ gig. I've had a few DJ gigs. right now, and just for fun. Like I haven't been paid for any of this stuff, just to get some experience and that sort of thing. So it's just something I've been working on right now. Another thing I've been another challenge for me, and things are slowly coming along, but it's just great to get out there and be the DJ at some of these events and not just the person coming out to dance. So something I want to do more of in different venues, and so it's just been a lot of fun doing that.
Well, I'm glad that you get that opportunity to do that. Like I was saying, here you are back on dialysis, but you learned this stuff while you were living your life before you ended up back on dialysis. And you will continue doing this long after you get your new kidney and you're back in the swing of things. So again, you will be giving back to the community around you with beautiful music and lots of fun and being in the clubs.
Exactly. Yeah. And now that I live in downtown Toronto, I don't have to take the 1 hour bus ride from Stouffville to get to downtown Toronto. I can get an Uber to any club in Toronto and be there within 15 minutes. So it's kind of nice to live downtown and be close to dialysis and close to everything I need and close to the clubs now. So
yeah, and I remember too that you've also done some emceeing and some DJing for the Legion in Stouffville, again,
That's
giving
right.
back to your community. So when people give the gift of life, they give back to a community, a vibrant, vital community of people who are living the best life they can.
Exactly. And I miss Stouffville, I miss my friends, and miss the small town feel, and just to be involved with I'm still involved with the radio station, but to do more community events there. But now that I'm, living down in downtown Toronto, there's more opportunities for me here. So looking forward to that. And yeah, once I do get a kidney, I'll have more time and energy to get involved in, different activities like this.
Yeah, I know. It'll be great. I can't wait. Well,
Me
Jay,
too.
we're running out of time here on Freshwaves, so I will say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being such an avid advocate for organ donation and organ donation awareness. Even hearing your story may inspire someone to go to beadonor.ca and register to be an organ donor. So thank you very much for all that you've done.
You are so welcome, Bren. It's great to be back on the show, and I'm looking forward to hearing some more of the organ donor shows this month for Be a Donor Month.
All right. Well, people can go to the YouTube channel, which is
Freshwaves Radio, and please hit subscribe. We'd love new subscribers, and feel free to leave a comment on our shows and let us know what you're thinking.
Great. All right. Well, that's it for Freshwaves today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we will talk to you again next week on Freshwaves.